Hi everybody out there. I'm Tab, in case we haven't met yet. So welcome to Art Journaling. Thank you for being here. We are going to go through 8 good for the soul single page art journal designs that I have come up with that will hopefully bring some kind of peace and serenity to your life in this crazy time that we are living right now. My little experiment called Art Journaling for the Soul. Thank you again for being here. I am super happy to be sharing these things with you, and I hope that you enjoy it. Hi everybody, we're back for another art journal night. So hopefully you have, at this point set up a nice little station in your, in your kitchen or in your living room or something that you can just kind of, hop in and out of projects as you have time for them. And then I hope that, you're enjoying this a little bit. So again, thank you for, watching all of these. If that's all you're doing and it brings you comfort, then great. If you're actually sitting down and doing these, that's awesome. I've been getting some pictures from some of you guys, whether you're tagging me on Facebook or Instagram, or if you're just simply texting or emailing them to me. It fills my heart up so full when I get those texts, and I don't even feel the need to share that on social media. I just am. It just makes me so happy when I see that you have taken the time to sit down and do one of these, and then you're happy about sharing those with me. So this is our 6th page, and we are going to be focusing on doing our best to stress less. Okay, so one of my all-time obsessions, I love watching these videos, is those Mandala Dot Paintings. And so when I used to own my studio up in Rockton, I had a friend come down and she taught a class on this dot painting on rocks, and it was super fun. So shout out to you, Jen. You know what? It's so calming to do something like that I thought, let's do a journal page based on it. So basically, this is the journal page that I came up with, and we're going to start off with some, setting some intentions for the beginning of this page, and then we'll just use whatever tools you have at your disposal. One of the things that you can do is just kind of go around the house and collect things. So, if you have a broken paintbrush, you can use the tip of that for a one size dot. You can use the eraser off of a pencil for another. You can take the back of a pen. Those are pretty much the same size, but you can go around and find different things. So what I use in the video here that you'll see is, I use the eraser of this pencil a couple times. I use, for my really fine dots, I use one of these little, yarn needles or whatever. I just kind of found one laying around, so I thought that'll make a nice little dot. You could take the tip of a pen and you could use it for dotting. So whether it's a pen that doesn't work now, or whether it's a pen that's not going to work anymore after you do this, what's the difference? So go ahead and find a pen and use that. We're going to also be using your Sharpie. Okay, so make sure you have a Sharpie out, and a big paintbrush to paint on some black paint. Okay, so black paint. And then for your colors, for all of your dots, you can kind of stick with a color scheme. So if you want to just pick out your couple, 2 or 3 favorite colors. You might also do a little bit of white gel pen work in the end. So that's it. Here we go. We're going to stress less. We're going to set some intentions. We're going to do some deep breathing, and then we're going to go and do these dots, and you're going to feel so zen at the end of this. You won't even believe it. So here we go. What we're going to do first is we're going to take some deep breaths, and then we're going to set an intention on our page first. So the way that you'll want to breathe is you'll want to breathe in really slow until you just can't hold any more breath, and you're going to want to hold it and then let it all out, all of it, until you can't let anything else out, and then do that 10 times. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set an intention for this page and what kind of thing we're going to be working out through our minds, I guess, while we're doing this page. So we're going to do 10 deep breaths. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to set our intentions for this page. So you'll want to start out with your Sharpie or any black ink pen, and again, this is going to get covered up so no one will ever know what is written underneath of all of this beautiful work that we're going to do on top. So I'm going to set an intention by starting with the words I intend to. Okay, so whatever kind of thing you're working through, whether it's, you need to stay positive, or I intend to take better care of myself, or I intend to, try to control my anger better, or I intend to calm my mind during this exercise. Whatever that intention is for you, we're going to write that onto the paper. So I am going to go ahead and write my intentions, and it can be one thing or it can be many things if you want to fit many things on here. So what you'll want to do now is get some black paint onto your palette, and we're going to just grab a nice big brush, dip it in some water, not too much water because we do want this to be totally covering of what we've got going on here. And so I'm just going to go ahead and paint. So now we're going to go ahead and in your page, you just need to find something that you can trace around that's round. So a bowl or a lid or something. You can just use anything that's round. And so we're going to put this in the middle of our paper, and then we're going to trace around it with a pencil. Okay, so I have my circle, and it's slightly imperfect. That's okay. So with a ruler or a straight edge, whatever whatever you want to use, we're going to cut this in half, and I'm hoping that I'm guessing okay. That's pretty close. Okay, and then we're going to cut it in quarters. So we're just going to divide this into a bunch of pie pieces. Okay, so I have 8 right now. If I divide them in half yet again, I'm going to have 16. So it depends on if you want to get super fancy with this or not. I'm going to go ahead and do it because I feel super fancy today, I guess. We're going to basically just use whatever we've got around and just kind of see what we can make out of this. So the very first thing that you'll want to do is make sure that you have your paint palette close by, and we're going to go ahead and start with the center dot, and the center dot is obviously going to be right in the middle here, and you can do it with whatever you've got laying around. So I'm going to just do the back of my pen here just to see how big this dot is. So basically for all of these dots, we're just going to dip your tool into it, and we're just going to apply that dot, and it gets left alone. We don't do anything with it. Okay, so once you're done with obviously your tool, you're going to make sure you wipe it off so that next time you don't have wet paint all over it. And then we're going to go ahead and start doing other colors. You could of course do this without a grid as well, but since we have one, it's kind of handy. And so what we're going to do first is grab our next color, which I've decided to go with the classic primary colors. I'm going to go with a fuchsia color, a teal, well, more like a light blue, and then a yellow, and then my white. So I'm going to grab something somewhat on the small side for my next series of dots. And so what you'll want to do is just position yourself so that you've got your paint really close, because almost every time you're going to want to go get a fresh load of paint so that all of your dots are consistent. So basically you're going to want to start out with your 4 your north, east, southwest dots, and this is especially if you don't have a pie diagram. And then you're going to want to go ahead and start filling in the, the northeast, the northwest, the southwest, and then southeast. Okay, and then that's going to get them nice and even. And then you'll just put the one in between. So we've got our nice little bit of inner dots here. And so this is just something that you keep building out, and you can make your dots slightly bigger each time. And so I'm going to switch colors. Make sure that every time you're about to switch colors, you really shake that paint up really well, so it doesn't get all goopy, because sometimes it separates, and that's just really gross. Now I'm going to go in between the lines, so you can kind of mix it up. And I'm just doing every other one. Okay, so you can kind of mix up the pattern. You can make little patterns for yourself. If you do a dot and then you walk the dots around, it's going to have this kind of, let me get my magnifying glass. It's going to have this kind of like trailing sizes, which is kind of cool. So that top dot is with the full strength or the full amount of paint, and then you just walk the dots around and it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And then to do the other side, you dot that first one again, and then you walk the dots around. Kind of fun. And then so I would say, after you start getting patterns going and then you start to see that there are black gaps in between stuff, you can fill those little black gaps in with little tiny dots. And so I might switch from white to, maybe I'll go back to my blue and just kind of fill in with some dots. Okay, so I'm going to just keep on going. Here we go. So now you're going to want to just kind of go through and really look to see if there's any mistakes. I mean, look at her. There's tons of mistakes on mine. I'm totally not perfect at all. So one of the things that you can do is, if you do have a mistake, you can redot. You can come in with your eraser, which is black paint on your brush, and you can kind of start to erase little issues that you see. And so yes, I'm old, I need a magnifying glass for this kind of stuff. So yeah, any other mistakes that you see you'd want to clean up really quick right now. And I would just want to show one more little thing that I saw in this process, which is really kind of cool. So if you do have a variety of tools, you can even use your paintbrush for this, but so like on these outer bigger circles here or whatever, what you can do is you can kind of add white to your color, and you can come into the middle and add a lighter circle in between or on top of each of these colors, and it just gives it like a duo tone. Now if you have lots of variety of, you know, circle making things, then you can just dot another circle on it on top that's a little lighter, but it just adds a little bit of extra dimension to it, which is kind of cool. Dry now, and we're going to go ahead and erase our pencil lines if you see any still poking through. We're going to go ahead and use our Mod Podge as a varnish. I'm going to use my ugly brush, and I'm going to make sure that everything's all erased in the way I want it, because as soon as I put this Mod Podge down, it's going to be sealed in and permanent. Okay, so you're going to dip your ugly brush into some water just so you can wash it later. Otherwise it's going to be really hard to wash. And so this is just going to be a varnish mostly, and then we can, I'm thinking of maybe doing a little bit of lettering. Some hand lettering maybe, and I'm just gonna, I don't know, maybe practice with the word stress less, which is the title of this page. So I'm just going to pencil it in first. In my best cursive handwriting here. And then I will tackle this with my gel pen, because that is going to mark really nicely on this Mod Podge surface. Whoops. So my gel pen ran a little bit here, so what you can do is you can get a baby wipe or a paintbrush that's wet even would work. So I'll do that actually, a little thin paintbrush. So because it's gel pen, it is not permanent, so you can kind of like erase it. You can wipe it right off since we Mod Podged, and you can try again. Okay, so I'm going to actually use this technique to my advantage here. I'm going to come back into my letters, and I'm just going to erase where I have these little intersections. So I'm just going to do that with my brush, because I can. I'm just going to erase these little intersections and just let it feel like it's filled in with chalk or something. That's kind of cool, actually. I'm discovering this live, you guys. I'm making this up as I go here. So now it's starting to look like a chalkboard. I love it. I love it. See, so what I'm doing is I'm just going into these little intersections and I'm wetting them down with my brush and smearing them out. So it almost looks like chalkboard effect. Just gonna kind of erase those, but then it smears the white and it makes it look kind of chalky. That's fun. Ooh, this might be a technique I keep forever. Just kind of smearing it out. So I might just kind of keep doing this just to kind of keep the feel of the chalkboard going. Just kind of get some of that smeary chalkboard feel into each of the letters. And then I'll just touch it up with my white gel pen. All the more reason to get a white gel pen as soon as you can, right? So you can do some stuff like this.